Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, just with the common nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things through a common sense lens. And we are back at the rumor mill today, boys and girls. And although you do know I love me some rumors around here, and especially when they come against from reliable sources, boys and girls. And obviously this is a source that has been pretty accurate so far about what we've seen from the Doctor Who and a few other things that have been going on out there. So it's a source that's got a pretty decent track record as of so far, because the Doctor Who stuff has essentially been confirmed in all but actual official announcement thus far. But boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Amazon Prime, MGM Studios over there has been one of those places that has, well, needless to say, one of those things that you absolutely are terrified about when you hear that they're getting a hold of one of your adaptations out there. And as a big fan of Karl Urban's Judge Dredd, the absolute cult classic from 2012 that so many of us loved, especially as a Drudge Dredd fan. Now, obviously, I've read some of the comics. I haven't read all of them out there, but I did enjoy the ones that I've read, and I really do think that movie encapsulates the character very well. Obviously, we all saw the Sylvester Stallone movie from way back in the day, which was absolutely a lot of fun. But I think the Karl Urban movie, for a lot of comic book accurate fans and people that are appreciative of the source material being actually stuck to, is something that a lot of people really appreciated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that the Wicked Witch of Amazon MGM is finally gone and out the door, we actually have some hope for what might be coming out of Amazon MGM Prime going forward. Because like I've always said, when people that love the source material have creative control, we generally get the best things. That's why I'm optimistic about the Warhammer 40k universe with Henry Cavill, especially now that Jennifer Salke's gone. And it looks like now that the witch is finally gone, things are progressing over there very well, especially with one of Amazon MGM Prime stars, Karl Urban. Because as you can see here from the headline from over at cosmicbook.news, Karl Urban returning in Dredd series at Amazon from the Boys team. Now, mind you, that might make a lot of people very uncomfortable considering some of the last couple of seasons of The Boys and the writers and creators behind it. But as you'll find out in the article when we get in here, boys and girls, don't get your pitchforks and your torches out just yet, because this is strictly from not necessarily the writers and the creative team, but the production team, the ones that have made The Boys look like what it looks like, that has given you all of the amazing action sequences that you've seen in The Boys that you've actually enjoyed and loved. And of course, Karl Urban being the absolute stealer of that show, and what keeps most people invested apparently is what Amazon MGM thinks as well. And it looks like they might give him carte blanche to do whatever he wants with the series. And considering the fact that he is a fan of the Dredd comics, boys and girls, we're going to be looking at the very, very bright future for the Judge Dredd franchise in live action. So we're going to check out this article from cosmicbook.news and get into all of the juicy details and see exactly what this rumor is breaking down for us. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,800. We're sailing our way towards 1,900, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment section in the comment section down below. Do you think Jennifer Salke being purged from Amazon MGM will actually give Karl Urban a chance to give us a properly accurate Drudge Dredd, or do you think this is all just a bunch of nonsense rumor mill and there's no way Amazon would actually go forward with giving Karl Urban carte blanche? Or do you think they're going to screw it up no matter who is in charge? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support this channel and become a member and get your name at the end of the credits for every single one of these videos and our live streams, please check out the links in the description down below. All right, from Matt McGloin and our dear sweet Matt McGloin and cosmicbook.news. A big rumor hits the net that Karl Urban will be returning as the titular character in a Dredd series that is said to be in early development at Amazon Prime Video from the production team behind The Boys. Notice production team, not creative team. Karl Urban starred in Dredd way back in 2012, which has become a huge cult classic and a favorite among fans. There was talk of Urban doing a Dredd Mega City 1 TV series at one time, which never came to fruition. And as we know from all the reports we've heard from inside of Amazon, Jennifer Salke kept a lot of what could have been potentially really awesome projects from not being greenlit, even if other heads at Amazon wanted them done, because, well, they didn't meet her agenda-driven storytelling, and it wasn't from a bunch of her activist friends. So, yeah. Again, I would imagine Judge Dredd wouldn't exactly line up with her agenda-driven storytelling, now would it? Especially not a faithful adaptation. Back in 2022, there was actually a rumor that the sequel to 2012 movie was in development, which would lead to a shared Dredd universe, but nothing became of it. At the time, I actually recommended that Amazon would be a good fit for Dredd. Now that might be the case, and like I said, even better now that Salke's gone. So the rumors come from Tachyon Pulse on YouTube channel out of the UK. The YouTuber has been leaking possible info about Doctor Who getting canceled, which Russell T Davies essentially confirmed in his latest interview for Newsround, Star Trek and Trump, and recent Stargate getting a revival at Amazon. All stuff we've talked about in the past. We'll see what ends up. We'll see if he's right more than just once out of the 3. So we'll see what happens. And in this case, now 4. But we'll see what happens on this. I'm cautiously optimistic. Matt over at Cosmic News wouldn't be reporting on this if it was just from some no-nonsense person out of nowhere. So take that with what you will. But as always, it's a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. Regarding Dredd, the YouTuber claims that Amazon wants to develop a Dredd series, and they want Karl Urban to star in the show. I'm hearing rumors that Amazon and Karl Urban are very, very interested. I like that. That sounds good. And of course, now Amazon are looking at it because The Boys is coming to an end. Season 5 will be the last one, and Karl Urban's name has gone through the roof over at Amazon. And why wouldn't he? The guy's a great actor to begin with, long before he was ever in The Boys. He's got a great presence on stage. Everybody likes him. He's not one of those guys that gets into the nonsense on social media. He's just a straight shooting guy that does a really good job, and he's got a love for Dredd and did a great job of embodying the character, in this humble common nerd's opinion, in that movie. So even Amazon apparently says they like him very much. They really put down his character in The Boys as one of the main reasons why that show succeeded. And I 100% agree. As a guy who watched the first 3 seasons of The Boys and they got kind of bored in season 4 and haven't bothered to go back and try any of the rest of it, or finish it for that matter, it's something that I really did. I loved his character. Karl Urban is a great actor, and he absolutely drew you into the series and gave you somebody to be very relatable to, because some of the other guys were just kind of off-the-wall weirdos or punching bags. So I loved having Karl Urban's strong character in there to really lead the show. The YouTuber claims that talks have already started, and that since Urban is such a huge fan, the Dredd series at Amazon will be similar to the movie in regards of the seriousness. Helmet remains on. Thank you. Mandalorian, anyone? And source material. I'm hearing the conversations have already started about reigniting some sort of Judge Dredd project starring Karl Urban. One that will again be very true to the comic books, but will go a lot further than they were able to with the Dredd movie, which was limited by budget. And obviously anybody that saw the movie, although it was great and I really did enjoy it, you could tell it was limited to its scope by the budget that it had. At the end of the day, it was still a lot of fun and the fans really love it. But if you've got Amazon money, right, you got Jeff Bezos billions, imagine the quality of the Judge Dredd that we could get. Ladies and gentlemen, that sounds like an absolutely glorious thing. And like I said, this is something that gives me hope and gives me some cautious optimism, because Jennifer Salke is gone. That was the witch that was responsible for all of the evil things that happened to all of our beloved IPs that Amazon got a hold of, boys and girls. That's why Jeff Bezos fired her, because she wasted billions of his dollars and didn't produce anything that was successful. Rings of Power ratings, anyone? I'm hearing actually that the production team behind The Boys are the ones potentially set to handle it, which, like I said, with the great action scenes we've seen in The Boys and stuff like that, there's no reason to not think they couldn't pull off a very good adaptation of Drudge Dredd and all of the action scenes and all of that crazy stuff that happens in those comics. Karl Urban would be given virtually free reign to do what he wants with this under the umbrella of The Boys production team. Very similar to the kind of deal that we've heard Henry Cavill has hammered out with Amazon and Games Workshop and at MGM. That would be very similar to what Karl Urban is getting, which, like I said, the reason why I was excited and optimistic about the Amazon Warhammer 40K stuff was because Henry Cavill was given carte blanche on it. You do the exact same thing with Karl Urban, you are going to get an excellent, in my humble common nerd's opinion, excellent adaptation of Drudge Dredd, and probably one of the most accurate adaptations we've seen out of comic books in a very long time, if not ever. I'm hearing this has gone as far as conversations and potentially even looking at getting a writer to put together a script. I don't think it's gone any further than that. We're talking very, very early days here. And that's how all of this stuff starts, right? But with the success of Karl Urban in the boys out there, right? Amazon, and you know how Hollywood is, right? They love working with the same people that they've had success with in the past over and over again. Obviously, we see the overuse of Pedro Pascal as a prime example of that, but this is one of those things that makes sense. If they've got a good working relationship, why bother going anywhere else? And if it's a project that they do think can be successful and if Karl Urban is really passionate about it, well, they're going to give him a shot because he's already made them a buttloads of money with the boys. So they're going to be willing to actually take a shot. So we'll see what happens with this, but I like the way this sounds. So the YouTuber goes on to say, let's see what happens. I don't think this sort of thing will be announced until after The Boys Season 5 airs and wraps, which completely and totally makes sense, right? You don't want to distract from the hype and all of the media sensations that you've got with The Boys Season 5 ending and everything else, so that all actually lines up and makes sense. You would want to wait to announce something like this, even if it is in early development, because they do announce things that are in early development, right? Especially if they get asked or questioned about them by these Hollywood reporters out there, these legacy media people. So, that actually completely and totally makes sense. It's a very logical thing to think about. But from what I'm being told, they are moving in that direction, and I think that would be absolutely wonderful. And as Matt points out here real quick, Karl Urban's got a basically open slate to do whatever Amazon wants him to do. With a quick check of Urban's IMDb page reveals that the actor's schedule is wide open. Karl Urban recently completed filming on Mortal Kombat 2, where he stars as Johnny Cage. We'll see how that turns out. I still haven't watched the first one. I don't know. You guys let me in the comments section down below if you saw the first Mortal Kombat movie. Was it any good? Is it worth me watching? Let me know. He's also slated to return as Butcher this year in season 2 of The Boys spinoff Gen 5 or Gen V, whatever it is. So obviously that's not a big deal either. If he's going to show up, he's already working in the same studio, not a problem. IMDb also lists the actors being involved with a new Star Trek film, but a new Star Trek movie featuring Abrams' character doesn't look like to be happening amid the recent takeovers of Paramount Skydance. Yeah, Abrams Trek, Jar Jar Abrams and Kurtzman Trek is over as soon as that deal's done. So yeah, I think this is a wonderful idea. I think this is a wonderful fit. If they give him carte blanche with the resources that Amazon says, and then the production team behind The Boys, I think this is a wonderful idea. As always, this is still just a rumor, but this is one little rumor out there that got a very humble common nerd's heart just puttering a little bit, because I am a fan of fans, and I think that's what we've seen the absolute most success with out of any of these franchises, out of any of these adaptations, is if it comes from a person that has an absolute love for the source material, and Karl Urban has that, just like Henry Cavill has that, just like several other people out there that we've seen very successful with these projects and these adaptations. That is the key core to making something good, loving and knowing the source material and giving it a proper adaptation that is going to be recognizable to fans, if not just a one-to-one copy, so that they can love and see it and take it away from just the pages of where they have to imagine all of the explosions, they had to imagine all of the action and be able to actually see it on, well, at this point it is a big screen because everybody's pretty much got 52-inch televisions at this point, but a big screen at your house, even in a TV series. And honestly, comic book adaptations have always been done best as television series. Look at the Batman the animated series. You have issues. That's how comic books are set up. You have issues, which sometimes very much contain stories. Sometimes you'll have a 3-story arc or a 3-issue arc, or sometimes you'll have a slightly overlarging arc. But at the end of the day, it's a serialized format, and it works best when you adapt it in a serialized format. That's why comic book movies and television show formats generally see some of the best adaptations. The early years of CW, Smallville, Lois and Clark from back in the 90s, all of these examples out there have shown that this format is one of the best for comic book adaptations out there. And if you give Karl Urban carte blanche, Amazon, chef's kiss, you might end up, after finally purging yourself from the cancer that was Jennifer Sisulke, you might actually be able to turn things around and give us good quality adaptations that the fans are going to praise you and love worldwide. And actually, Jeff Bezos, you've actually got the money to turn around and change your tune and make this work. At the end of the day, make the fans happy and we'll make you rich. If not, well, we saw what happened to Jennifer Sisulke, now didn't we, boys and girls?